is missing after a night out at the other bar. It's time to start caring. Welcome to Talking News. I do it just to make sure that we can get their face out there as many times as we can. Kelsey Bear's body was never found. The community is still working together to try to locate Sarah Galloway. Good job, Tree. The parent of the missing daughter was sleeping in his car. We just trying to get that information out there.
Hi guys, welcome to the Talking News. Please subscribe, hit the like button before you forget. Also hit that notification bell if you would like notifications for anything I upload, and that way you can keep up with the latest. So remember when that Sarah Jones, Michael Jones' ex, had an interview with Jax 4. Well, it turns out that she might be lying. Of course, several people kind of felt that way, but we didn't know them personally. You can only kind of guess as to what she's saying is fact or not. But CASEI Jones' sister decided that she would clear up a few rumors about this interview. BRANDI Lynn says she disagrees with some of what she had to say. I'm going to share BRANDI's video. I tried to tweak it a little bit. It was hard because I don't have real great editing software right now. I plan on getting some. But BRANDI Lynn will, she shares with us what she thinks and what she knows. So here's BRANDI Lynn so that you can see who she is.
Hi, it's BRANDI. I'm making this video for CASEI just to clear up some things that I think people are confused about, and also making up rumors about. I believe it was said in the interview with Sarah, the ex-wife of Michael Jones, that
First, I want to say if you're not familiar with the story, refer to my older videos so that you know what we're talking about. Anyways, BRANDI Lynn, CASEI Jones' sister, addresses the interview of Sarah Jones claiming that CASEI often just disappeared. I think most of us that didn't even know CASEI realized Sarah was a true crime buff, and she seemed to be following and motioning the stories she had watched in the past, including the way that she took this interview. Reminds me of Cheryl Barth a lot, but that's just my opinion. But she is a crime buff, and she is saying in this video that it's not unusual for CASEI to disappear.
In the morning, so first thing in the morning when we got up, I called the detective, and that's when I discovered that CASEI and the kids were missing. I didn't really know what to think. It was, it's not completely secret that there have been times in the past that she has just kind of disappeared for a while to get some time alone or away from people.
I believe it was said in the interview with Sarah, the ex-wife of Michael Jones, that CASEI went missing all the time, which is completely untrue. Michael actually is the one that went missing all the time when he conveniently went to Mexico when he was in trouble with the police here, and they were searching for him, and then he conveniently went to Vermont when my sister was 4 months pregnant, after stealing $800 out of her bank account and her vehicle.
And he said he was going to go take care of it. He was going to go to the sheriff's office. He was going to talk to them and figure out where his daughters were and what did CASEI do. If there's one thing that Michael is really good at, it's lying and manipulation.
So one thing that everybody agrees on is that Michael is a liar and a manipulator, and he does this on a regular basis. So BRANDI does address this in detail. Here we go.
So this story about her disappearing all the time, I understand that or know where that came from. Also, another thing is, if the ex-wife actually believed that CASEI disappeared, how would she disappear without her vehicle? You were riding in her vehicle.
So BRANDI is commenting on the vehicle involved in this case, which is a white van, which supposedly belongs to CASEI Jones. So it does not belong to Michael. Anyways, on an affidavit, Mike says that he beat CASEI. Gone July 10th. So here's that interview clip of Sarah Jones talking about that.
Were you ever in the car with him?
Not. The last time we were in the van, or I was in the van, was July something. We went to the beach, like, right after he told me the two of them split up. But we really had no cause to go many places together as all five of us. I would go to work and I would even pick up my youngest. He would pick up the boys and bring them home after school, usually to go to the pool. And so I didn't have any need to be in his van. At one point he had said he had moved out of his house in Summerfield. This was probably a week before.
Michael was driving her vehicle. How could she disappear without her vehicle, her only means of transportation? And who would she disappear with, and where would she go without her kids? She would never leave without her kids. So that's complete bullcrap right there. And I think she's making everything up. I don't know if Michael told her that or if she's just saying that to save her own, but it's probably what it is, because she's trying to get out of telling the truth, trying to get out of trouble, or trying to cover for him, of course. So, that's basically just one of the things that I wanted to cover.
So CASEI's sister is saying, she doubts anything she's saying right now, basically. Everything she's saying, everybody can tell, and we don't even know them, that it just really doesn't make sense. Anyways, I want to talk about her interview a little bit more. So pay attention to Sarah Jones talking here.
And I had a detective come by later that afternoon, and it's when I started to realize that, like, this was not a normal situation. And I told him flat out, I said, I know what you think happened. I know based on this scenario what you think happened, and Michael could never have done it.
She later says that she says, well, that's probably the dumbest thing I ever said. That Michael could have never done it. But she seems to say what she wants to say to fit the situation. If this was devastating, would you do an interview if this was happening to you? So I wonder why she did this interview, and I think a few of us do as well. But you have to give her the benefit of doubt. You are innocent until proven guilty, but I do believe there's more to it than what she's saying. In this interview, we know that Sarah realizes what the detectives are thinking. So she knows. She's saying she don't know, but she knows what they're thinking and what his capabilities are, but she's saying she doesn't. She doesn't understand that she's contradicting herself, and that the thought does cross her mind what he could have done to his wife and children. My point is she said that sometimes she says this is not something that crossed her mind, but it obviously did if she knew. So BRANDI Lynn continues to answer a few questions. Let's just listen in.
A big thing. Just some questions here. Has CASEI ever went missing now? Has CASEI ever left her kids? No. Would CASEI ever let Sarah watch her kids? No. They did not get along. CASEI would not let Sarah watch her kids ever. And there was, I don't know, maybe a rumor or whatnot, someone saying that Sarah at one point had at least the girls. CASEI would never allow that. Would CASEI ever leave without her vehicle? No. She has no way of leaving without her vehicle. Completely untrue. Lies. More lies. Would CASEI ever attack anyone? Only to protect her children. Just because that was put out there. Also that she attacked Michael with or tried to attack Michael with the bat. No. Absolutely not. Unless she felt as though her life was in danger or her children's life was in danger. And last, would CASEI ever allow Sarah in her vehicle? No. Not if she had knowledge of it. They did not get along. They never liked each other. None of that. So no. It's all lies and basically just stuff I feel like she's making up to protect herself and to protect Michael. So, well, that's it. If anyone else has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them, especially to clear my sister's name because she can't do it for herself. So we're going to do it for her. Her family's going to do it for her, continue to do it for her, especially when these lies keep coming up. So, yep, that's it. All right, bye.
Okay, guys, let's thank Brandi Lynn for doing this for us. We appreciate it. It's nice to see some things get cleared up. And of course, guys, everybody is innocent until proven guilty. That includes Sarah. It includes any other suspect like Michael Jones that is behind bars right now. But you can't help but wonder when you're not getting very much information and you're wanting to see justice come for this family. So if I knew how, I'd probably do a one-on-one with these guys and do an interview. But also I'm scared because I'm not sure if they have an attorney to speak through or not. I don't want to give information that might hurt the case. But one thing we can talk about is whatever is public already. And we can talk about, you know, what we're hearing out there in the social media. I cannot imagine what this family is going through, you know, and this family is pretty close, but they live a little bit of a distance apart. And I have gone through pretty much every single video that CASEI put on her YouTube channel. And it looks like a lot of other people are going through those videos as well now. What you see in those videos is not what you're seeing now. And it just tells you that you just never know. But still, my thoughts go back to the time of Sarah Jones making that trip from Vermont back to Florida. We all know her intentions. I think she tries to tell us it's something else, but the interview definitely tells you the truth. She was happy to be in his presence again. Sadly, whatever, something happened during that process that ended up taking the lives of some very beautiful children and woman. And I can tell you guys, you know, we seen that Chris Watts case. I didn't get into it that much like some of you guys do, but I remember seeing it too and thinking, what in the world, this guy does not fit the picture. But once you watch him for a while, he's a master manipulator. So a master manipulator has charisma, and they can use it in many different forms. They can play submissive. They can play the boss. They can play dumb, innocent, abused, you name it. So right now we're dealing with narcissists who like to manipulate their audience. So whoever's on the outside looking in, they treat the world as their stage. So they say this week, who do I want them to see me as this week? And it took a while to understand that Chris Watts, that innocent looking face that he had, was not what it seemed to be. So I want to remind people that women can be a psychopath. They too can be manipulating and a narcissist. And I believe when I watch Sarah, she reminds me of what they call gaslighting. So what is gaslighting? It is basically a manipulative tactic that can be described as different variations of 3 words. So, for example, that didn't happen. You imagined it, and you are crazy. So it's definitely probably one of the most popular tactics that most narcissists or manipulators use. They use it to distort or erode your sense of reality. So it eats away at your ability to trust yourself and pretty much disables you from feeling justified or calling out abuse or mistreatment. So now we have projection. So this is like a toxicity, or is when a person is chronically unwilling to see his or her own shortcomings and uses everything in their power to avoid being held accountable for them. So this is known as projection. So projection is a defense mechanism used to displace responsibility of one's negative behavior or traits and attributing them to someone else. It ultimately acts as a discretion that avoids ownership and accountability. We don't see Michael Jones doing this sort of thing, but we do see Sarah kind of doing this. You know, she's kind of not wanting to own up to the reality. We definitely seen Chris Watts and Patrick Frazee. They go under projection for sure. But Crystal Lee Kinney, where does she fit in? Well, she's gaslighting and she's projection. She's just like Sarah Jones, really, and Nikki, what was her name? Nikki K. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I forget it. But you know, the mistress for Chris Watts. To be honest, it would take all day to describe exactly where they fit in, but they do fit into so many titles when it comes to manipulation and narcissists. But one thing they all are very good at is changing the subject to evade accountability. So it says that this type of tactic is what I like to call "what about me" syndrome. So it's basically where they kind of avoid the topic or subject or title or whatever. I mean, literally, they redirect the attention to a different issue altogether. So, for example, you know, when they interviewed Sarah Jones, it was supposed to talk about CASEI and her children, although that was not the main topic. It was about her, what Sarah Jones went through and what she sees, and not really even about anybody else but her. So really, narcissists don't want you to be on topic for, let's say, of holding them accountable for anything. So they will basically reroute their words, direction, everything on the topic to benefit them. And like she did many times, they actually complain about something someone did many years ago. So if you make a mistake and say that you're dating or you're married to a narcissist, you can expect that they will point out every mistake you ever committed within 20 years. So it's definitely not Sarah Jones that does this, but if you're a true crime fan and she's watching this, she'll know too. You've seen it pretty practically, and a lot of people, it's over 50%, whoever is involved with a true crime case. And I have to say that I'm finding out that women in most of these cases and the love triangles are manipulating the men. They really are. They know how to manipulate the men and create very drastic outcomes in a lot of cases. I'm not saying that they're directly saying, hey, go hit her off. But they do kind of create the drama and issues that happen. I believe this is a serious issue in our country, and I think that's something we need to start paying more attention to and addressing. In fact, I would like to see some of these women who are involved with these cases where these outcomes are come out like this, where they're just horrific, to face, the reality and be set an example of. It really is a problem, and women are doing it for some cases, entertainment, a game, and they just want to win. They don't care what it costs. I believe this is one of those cases. Of course, that's my opinion and nothing more on that statement. So, but, when we get more facts, I'm definitely going to do a video where we're going to go over just the facts only. I'm not going to give you my opinion on how I feel or how other people feel. But right now, we just don't have that many facts to go on. So what we can do is we can take what we see and only guess what, the motive was, why it happened, how it happened. And guys, before I end this video, I want to make sure that I addressed a few people I want you to take notice to. So there are some missing people out there. They are still missing. This one is only 14 years old, Miss Coles, and she's out of Baltimore. There's really not much story on her. They just say that she left the home unannounced, and they've never seen her since. So please share her face and information on your social media. Now, next is Jasmine Robinson. She's out of Archer, Florida. Guys, listen, she was 7 months pregnant. This is a very old case, and there's just nothing. Last I heard is they had a little bit of a clue, and police were following that, but we haven't heard anything since, and this is months and months old. Jasmine needs her face out there, and if you know anything, please call police, because they do suspect that something is not very, it's not a very good scenario. Okay, guys, so we still have this 5-year-old who, Dulce, who is missing from New Jersey. Her mother was sitting in a car, playing on her phone, not paying attention to her very young kids, and her young toddler comes up to the car and says the sister is gone. Police have still not found her. So this is, very serious, and I'm very scared on this one. I am very worried for this one. But it doesn't help when you have people like the Washington Post posting stories about teachers who comment on a culture. It wasn't even something bad. She was just saying, because she works with these kids all the time. She knows what, she deals with parents all the time. She shares the truth about what was going on, and she gets in trouble. So you got the Washington Post and a few others that are covering drama instead of trying to give us tips of where this child could be. So just ignore anything when you see a missing child where they're trying to create drama. Because I'm very upset that the mother wasn't watching the child, but I've tried my best to leave that out. The main focus is Dulce was last seen wearing this very bright yellow shirt with a white printed koala bear on front. She was last seen at the park. According to a witness, she was seen get into a red van with a sliding door. Supposedly, somebody that abducted her was wearing orange sneakers. But I can tell you right now, I too know the Mexican culture, and I can tell you that a lot of times in these cases, the fathers, they abduct their own children all the time. You can look that up and back it up. So I was wondering maybe if that happened, but the thing is, only one child was taken, not two of them, but I'm not certain if he's the father of both children. So, but according to what I've heard, they've contacted the father in in Mexico, and so that's not where she is right now. But yeah, this is not good. I hope they find her. So if you can, please definitely share these pictures of these missing people. Time's passed on all these now, and that's what scares me. I want to make a shout out to the Washington Post and tell them that they should be ashamed of themselves. I never really use the Washington Post anyways because they're so dramatic and they're hateful. I usually only use information from ABC, occasionally, what is it, CBS, CNN occasionally, and lately I've been using Fox quite a bit, but usually I try to use local news stations, so wherever that story's coming out, that's where I'll get my information, as well as the families and, background. But these three ladies, we need to find them. I need to, we need to bring closure to this families, find answers, and bring justice. So anyways, guys, I'm going to go ahead and end it here. I want to say to the CASEI Jones family, we're sending you guys prayers. We hope that you guys see justice. I hope that you are getting a few donations to that GoFundMe to help bury your nieces, nephews, and grandchildren. Again, I want to thank BRANDI Lynn for sharing her video and her side of the story with us, because that was important. And we are hoping that we do get some information on the autopsies. It really is taking a long time, but we did hear that, the bodies were in Florida. You know how the environment is there. They were pretty decomposed, and for a long period of time. In fact, now we know at least CASEI was from July 10th until September 14th, 15th. All right, guys, I want to ask you to drop some comments below. Make sure that you like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and I'll see you guys soon. I love you guys, and I'm going to try to work on that one story for Jamaica. All right, bye-bye.